I'm not sure there's anything the Nigerian government can do except continue to play up the message we were able to defeat Ebola because of our steps. At the moment, I think 4 Nigerian women delegates at the International Women Conference in Azerbaijan, of all places, in the old Soviet Union, they were barred from entering the conference for fear of Ebola. There is a restaurant in South Korea that has a big sign, blacks not wanted for fear of Ebola. Many people have had their admissions letters withdrawn. Some countries, if you tell them of a flight from Nigeria, they tell you no. And any black person who has any fever anywhere in the world is called an Ebola patient. So the stigma is the long-lasting effect of Ebola. That even African countries, Gabon included, they're afraid of Nigerians because they say we carry Ebola. It does not matter that the person came from Liberia. The index and only case we really that triggered this enough came from Liberia. So it's a battle the Nigerian government can do, and may I suggest that if they're able to retaliate, where they're in a stronger position, let them do that, at least to make the point.
Okay, maybe Kingsley must want to react to that. Do you subscribe to the idea that our government cannot do anything about this and let the rest of the world know we are Ebola free? You cannot. Maybe we should move it to the realm of what happened with the yellow fever vaccine paper between us and South Africa in the recent past.
I think it's just unfortunate because Ebola is much more deadly. Looking at it from the perspective of the Chinese, the issue is this: if you have 1 billion people and you look at the state of your health facilities, you realize that if a deadly disease like Ebola gets a foothold in China, the Chinese are impliedly telling you we are not in a position to cope. So they are taking extreme measures to prevent the entry of this disease. You cannot blame any government from taking steps to protect its people. I think what we can continue to do from Nigerian perspective is to highlight the fact that, look, we've had a challenge, we've dealt with it, but the question I would want to ask the Chinese would be, are they also prepared to take similar steps against the Americans? Because if, unfortunately, that shipload of people, there's an outbreak of Ebola there and you have over 3,000 or 4,000 people on board, are the Chinese. It's only when the Chinese now apply discriminatory standards. In other words, they've applied similar standards to Nigeria. Our flights come in and they quarantine us because we have had Ebola infection. And then an American flight comes in and the Americans come in and out in spite of the fact that the Americans have proven cases of Ebola. Then we would be able to take it up in a diplomatic channel and say, why applying double standards?
Kingsley, exactly where I'm going, because you look at the situation that was reported within the last few days about some young Nigerians who wanted to get into university in the United States of America, in Texas, and they were deprived or denied admission in universities in Texas because Nigeria has Ebola. Meanwhile, there are 2 cases now in that same country.
And one is already dead.
Yes,
remember?
One is already dead. Yes.
I would have to agree with you then that the government would have to take it up officially, because there is no basis for this action. Yes, the Americans can complain that the index case came from Liberia, a country in West Africa. Yes, they can complain that Nigeria had about 20 infected or less cases in which about 8 people died.
Yeah.
But the issue is we've contained it. They are proving unable. I mean, what is happening in America is happening in the public view of the whole world. This is a country that is supposed to have one of the best health facilities in America, and yet we are finding instances where medical personnel who had the highest level of protection are being affected by Ebola. So we would expect that in such a situation, if government can show a pattern of consistent discrimination, it becomes a diplomatic issue that our government should take up with the American ambassador.
I want to quickly add this. Now let's take the case of America. Let's have a comparative analysis. Soya came to Nigeria from Liberia, was taken to an hospital, was not allowed. Dr. Adadevo and one other doctor stopped him from leaving Lagos to go to Calabar. A nurse contacted Duncan, took it to America. A nurse dealt with him. One of the nurses traveled from Texas to Cleveland, from Cleveland to Ohio, to Atlanta. you with me now? To Atlanta. America was not able to stop one of the nurses going crisscrossing. That was what caused the outrage. But in Nigeria, if we had to do a comparative analysis and we had to score, you discover that Nigeria is far better than America in the management of this crisis. And don't forget, Liberia is a former colony of America. The same experience the United States is having was the same experience, because the person that brought it on July 20 to Nigeria happens to be a Liberian. And the person that took it from Africa to America happens to be a Liberian. So why the double standard? I think we should be commended. I think that the government needs to take decisive steps as regards those 4 students who are discriminated against, because it's their future, it's their life. Why?
Okay, so
Mr.
Okay.
Nigeria faced the Ebola issue head on, and we faced it as one. There was no politics involved, nothing. What do you think that Nigeria needs to do so that we can look at such monumental problems from one perspective as a nation? And I'm talking specifically about the Boko Haram issue, for instance. What do we need to start breastfeeding our children patriotism, from the day they're born in their mother's breast milk, or what? So that we can see ourselves first as Nigerians, to look at issues confronting us as an issue facing Nigeria, not me as an Ishekiri woman, or this man as an Igbo man, or Christian, Muslim. You know what I'm talking about.
At the conference, when they bombed Emma Plaza, at the National Conference of 2014, a delegate from Borno said he got a phone call that the people of Boko Haram would bomb some areas that night. And the presiding officers quickly asked for a closed-door meeting of all the delegates. And we asked all the delegates from the Northeast, tell us what is the problem. Why is Boko Haram fighting? And what is the solution? One thing I noticed that most of them, yes, they gave how it started 2002 under Obasanjo, how Obasanjo's government ignored advice and refused to do anything. At the end of the day, they said, as far as they're concerned, it's Jonathan's fault. Some of us said, we are talking of solutions. When a bullet is fired, he doesn't know whether you're Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, Shekiri, does not want to know. All he knows is that somebody would die. And many of them prevaricated, except one woman who got up and said, look, they're training female suicide bombers now. And when they detonate, they don't want to know. And from there, we were able to tell ourselves the truth. What concerns Northeast, concerns North Central, concerns South, concerns all of us. The way we tackled Ebola was, this is imminent danger, present and imminent danger. And if we adopt the same pattern, Boko Haram cannot hide in my boys' quarters. Today, if I have a gate man, what does gate man do? He brings his brother, who can barely speak English, and he stays there. From there, we take bomb to go and throw. And I pretend I don't know what. That consciousness that things have gone bad. Like one senator from Borno said, I've not gone home to Borno for 1 year. My wife is there, but I can't even go because they will kill me. He left his wife there to be killed by Boko Haram, and he's hiding in Abuja, pretending that it concerns the other person, not him. It's the hypocrisy that we are facing today that has prolonged the Boko Haram incident. If we face Boko Haram as present and imminent danger, believe you me, they will not hide anywhere. And if they have no place to hide, in other words, if they have no sleeping cell, they cannot operate. Okay. Now, just one moment. Let me give you an example with Biafra-Nigerian war. By the time we came back, the resources that could have been used to develop this country, what happened? They were spent in buying bullets. And the biggest business then was burial. The money that could have been used to build more schools, what happened? They were spent in the war. So if in this country we take the decision, no more Boko Haram, believe you me, they will have no hiding place. Believe you me, in this country, we will move. And the soldier who knows that he has to fight knows why he's fighting, to keep Nigeria safe.
Okay. Thank you very much. Kingsley, as part of wrapping up now, how should we be celebrating the fact that Nigeria